Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Thank you for taking the time out to join us. We have with us Christine and Brian from ClickLearn, and they're going to be presenting today how to build a complete learning portal with ClickLearn. And I know you're all eager to get started with the presentation. Before I pass it over to Brian and Christine, I just want to remind you that we are recording this webinar, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And if you do have any questions during our presentation, please feel free to type those into the questions box on the control panel, and we will answer them at the end of our session during our Q&A time. But before we get things started, we're actually going to kick it off with a poll question. So I'm going to launch this first poll question, and it is, what application are you creating learning materials for in your digital transformation project? And we just would like for you to go ahead and take that poll so we can get those tallied up. All right, Brian and Christine, looks like we've got 60% are saying Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM / CE Business Central Navision, and 40% Microsoft applications, Excel, Word, Visio, PowerPoint.
That's great. We can talk all day about Microsoft products.
All right, Brian, I'll go ahead and pass it on over to you to kick off our presentation.
Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And just to quickly highlight on that poll, with a little bit about myself, I am the Senior Partner Account Manager here with ClickLearn, and I work directly with Inovia. Christine is our Customer Success Manager. Just briefly, I have a brief 4 to 5 slide deck presentation about what ClickLearn is and what we do. And then I'll kick it over to Angie, who will then kick it over to Christine, and Christine will be doing the demo. But to the results of that poll, my sole focus is on the Dynamics 365 community. So happy to help and answer any questions along the way, at the end, or down the road after the presentation. So without further ado, let me get started here with my slides so we can see the fun and exciting stuff that Christine's going to do. So a little bit about ClickLearn. We are founded in 2010, and after 4 years of research and development, went live out into the world. We have about 60 employees worldwide. We now have 4 offices. Our corporate office is located in Copenhagen, Denmark. Christine and I are based in our North American office down here in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, which we opened almost 2 years ago to the date. And our development team is based out of India. And now we also now have a person sitting in Perth, Australia. We have been a Microsoft Gold partner since day one. We do also have, we call them connectors, but we play with different ERPs and other system platforms out there, IFS being one of them. We're a platinum partner with them. Being a European-based company, most of our awards and accolades come from the European community. One of the ones we're most proud of is the Financial Times ranked us as the 136th fastest growing company, not just in 2019, but also 2020. And lastly, our mission, pretty simple, it's making partners and organizations more successful with their business platform investments. Where is ClickLearn being used? It is now over 44 different countries. We have been growing to over 395 different corporate customers, 137 unique Microsoft partners, and trending towards a 50-50 split between the Americas and EMEA. So what is ClickLearn? If you want the one-line tagline of what we are, it's from 0 to e-learning in minutes. And what that means is, with ClickLearn, all you need to know are your business processes and the training documentations you want to create. You get into your system, which would be, in this case, most likely Dynamics 365, turn on the ClickLearn application, and ClickLearn follows you through step by step as you perform and do those different documentations and training materials. And with a push of a button, you're able to produce and publish that. Over here on the right side is just a brief rundown of some of the things that ClickLearn does, and Christine's going to touch on those when she gets her opportunity here in a moment. But just so you know what to look forward to and some of the things that ClickLearn is capable of, we're able to produce 7 different learning formats from a single source. 4 written, Word, HTML, PowerPoint, and PDF, and then 3 videos as well, a show me video, a try me video, and a test me video. With any recording that you create, you're able to turn that process into an on-screen live assistant that would sit in your upper ribbon of your Dynamics application field when it's open. What's great about that is it allows anyone to be productive from day one. So let's just say, for example, you hired me at your organization and today was my first day. And you said, Brian, on your first day here, we want you to go in and create 10 new customer accounts for us. My initial reaction is going to be, what are you talking about? I don't know what you do. I don't know what system you use. I haven't been trained. I don't know what logon, so on and so forth. You're going to say, no problem. You're going to walk me over to my system. You're going to turn it on. You're going to log me in. You're going to turn on that on-screen live assistant. And ClickLearn is going to let me follow through step by step that recording you did for creating a customer account all the way through. So it allows anyone to be productive from day one. We have the ability to auto-translate instructions and video narration in more than 45 different languages. I believe we're close to 50 now. Why is that important? Well, let's say you have end customers or end users that are based maybe in Mexico, for example, and their native language is Spanish. Or maybe they're based in Canada and their native language is French Canadian. So anyone whose native language is not English, in today's environment, you have to probably manually go through and do the manual translations for those situations, making sure the sentence conjugation is right, and the pronunciation, and make sure everything, is good and readable. A very tedious task. With ClickLearn, with a push of a button, you would simply open up the recording you've already made that you want to translate. With the push of a button to republish, by the time it takes you to go get a cup of coffee and come back to your desk, you're going to have that recording now twice in your library, once in English and once in that second language. Very efficient and very time efficient, so it's not so time consuming or that difficult or a headache to have. Automated replay that recaptures system upgrades and changes within the business processes. We all know Microsoft pushes out 2 to 3 updates a year. Also, too, organizations can have the layout of the screens moved around from time to time, and maybe you, as a worker or as a creator or as an author, maybe aren't privy to that. So, let's go with an extreme example. Let's say the account name field, when you leave the office Fridays, in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You come in Monday morning, either through that Microsoft update or any other thing internally within the organization, that account name field is now in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. In today's environment, again, you would probably have to recreate all those documents from scratch because probably account name field is going to be early in that process of whatever recording you're making. With ClickLearn, very similar to the auto translation, you would open up the recording that has that field in it, hit republish, and by the time it gets you to go get a second cup of coffee and get back to your desk, that recording is going to be automatically updated. So that field is now automatically updated. It's in the same spot of your recording of your procedure. It's all flowing like it never changed. And last one, built-in learning analytics that collects feedback, ratings, and trackings for the usage of the learning materials. What we're really getting down to is that analytical data, that granular data to make sure that, hey, all these systems that we have, these new systems, whether it's an implementation or an upgrade, that all of the people using these are using them the right way in the most efficient and proficient way possible. So hypothetically, let's say your organization has a sales team of 10. And you want to send your sales team out all the training documentation you've created. So you go into the ClickLearn studio, you pull them all out, you push them out through the portal to that sales team. Again, Christine can show you that here momentarily. A week later, you can log into that portal and say, hey, I want to see how they did. Let's see if they're using the systems the right way, the way we want them to use them. Maybe you log in, hypothetically, and you see 7 out of 10 people took it, which is great. But why didn't those other 3 people take it? Were they too busy? Were they off from the office? Did they not care? You can have that individual conversation with those people. But let's dig a little deeper. Those 7 people that took the test, let's say 4 of them passed with 100%. That's awesome. They're using everything the best way possible. They're doing it properly. But 3 of them didn't. Well, now let's take that information and dig in a little bit deeper and see why those 3 people didn't pass. Maybe hypothetically, they all stubbed their toe in the same spot. Now you have that information in front of you right there where you can go in and create a new training documentation focusing on that one particular area to help those people grasp and understand what they're supposed to do and why they're supposed to do it. so that they can pass, which over the long haul could be way more productive than pulling the entire sales team of 10 off the floor into a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation training where really 7 out of 10 of them don't need it. And now you just took the sales team off of doing their job for 2 hours, wasted productivity. So again, Christine's going to show you this all here momentarily. I have one more slide left. And who benefits from ClickLearn? And essentially, it's going to be any part of an organization. IT and support, for example. Routinely, our customers report back to us about a 70 to 80% reduction in IT help desk workload tickets that pertain to how do I do this? Where can I find this training? Who can help me with this? Can I get a video of this instead of a documentation so I can see it in action? They all have access to the portal to go do that. So it really frees up your IT team to do the jobs they were brought in to do. Employees are going to do it. Again, that on-screen live assistant allows anyone to be productive from day one. And support for any learning style. Again, we have those 7 different learning formats, and we all know that everybody learns materials and information different from everyone else. So for example, employee A might learn best if they print out the PDF and stick it next to their monitor so they can always refer to it. Maybe employee B next to them learns best by watching the show me video over and over and over and over again to get that repetition. Maybe employee C next to them learns best by downloading the Word document onto their mobile device and reviewing it while they're out of office, whether they're commuting or at home. So whatever style or format anyone uses, ClickLearn has an answer for it. And obviously management as well through increased ROI, reduced implementation risk, and higher process accuracy. Again, the main thing getting down here to is user adoption. We all know that's a key metric for Microsoft going forward, but organizations, whether it's an upgrade or an implementation, spend a lot of time, energy, sweat, money into these upgrades or into these systems. And it would be very frustrating for them to know that they did all of this to upgrade their systems, and then their end customers or end users are not using it the best way possible. So again, it's all about user adoption, kind of a keyword that you want to be aware of and listen to out there, and make sure that all your customers and all your end users are using the material the best way possible. And with that, I am going to send it back over to Angie. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we have our second poll. Okay, that should be up on the screen for you to review. What applications are you currently using to create the learning materials for your digital transformation project? And select all the choices there that apply. 100% is saying word editing software, 25% PowerPoint, and 13% video editing software, and 13% is other.
Great. That's a really great example of showing the multiple applications that you're currently using just to be able to create training materials. I shouldn't say just, but to create those all important training materials. And what we're going to take a look at now is, I'm now the presenter. Yes, I was just going to ask you. Thank you, Angie. What I want to do is kind of start. ClickLearn actually has 2 perspectives to be able to look at. ClickLearn Studio itself, the application, is what authors, people who use different applications to create those learning materials. And then also what you want to do is, let me go ahead and start showing my screen so you can see. What you also want to keep in mind is, where are your end users going to be able to access all of that material? So with ClickLearn, you will actually be able to create, we call it a shelf. Think of it as a learning portal, a library, a knowledge bank, whatever your little creative juices would be. And here within our Dynamics 365 Business Central, we have a tile right here to activate the assistant. And I've activated him. We are able, because we are a Microsoft Gold partner, I know Brian pointed that out earlier, you can see in this ribbon across the top, When I open my assistant, this is essentially where you can put your learning library. You could also put it into a learning management system. It's an HTML link and all of the data that is contained that you've created those recordings. So your end users will be able to access the information here. So now you're kind of wondering, well, Christine, what kind of information can they get? Whatever the functional area or the department, whatever those processes are that you need to create materials for your end users to access those portions of your systems. Business Central, of course, is a great example. We're going to take a look at it through our BC, but we also provide different connectors for you to be able to create materials for other applications as well. But here, if I want to come down into any one of these books, is where our recordings will reside, as well as all of the learning materials created along with it. If I want to be able to search at a quick glance, I can come here and enter a keyword, and I'll be provided a list that will show me. I can perform a search. Oh, I can perform a search, and my assistant is going to be able to show me, oh geez, what happened? Where did it go? So we have a variety of places that it'll be able to pop up, which of course it's not the best example there, but directly below here at the bottom, if I want to take a look at my content at a glance, any one of the books or the categories that you've created will contain the links to all of the different materials that have been created. So if I want to go ahead and see about how to create a new customer, oh, and it's possible that I don't have anything for account information, maybe if I would have searched on a customer, so I can immediately launch those work instructions. So if I do use dual monitors, I can take and drag and drop my learning material off to the side, work within the application. And now you can see at a glance, I have a web page that I'm looking at all of the materials, and I can scroll through, review the instructions, and see this is the information that I need to create a new account. Here you could also see your feedback. So if my end user wants to leave any information, and this is something that we encourage as a part of your change management. So if you're launching a new application, or even if you're just creating your learning library for an existing application, always encourage your end users to really participate in the creation of the materials or any updates. If there happen to be a new customized field, I know Brian mentioned earlier how Microsoft has the releases a couple of times a year, but if your business manager might request to have a new customized field added into a specific part of your application. So that might require having to just make one update rather than having to trash all of the existing materials that you've created with all of those other applications. You could make the change as an author. I could make a change, but I'm not going to know it unless I have some feedback. So I could always make sure that my end users will let me know that it was very clear instructions. So that way I'll be able to look back. I could check my dashboard analytics and I'll be able to gather that information. I also have a show me, a try me, a test me video. I have a PDF, a PowerPoint, and also we're going to talk about the live assistant in just a moment. All of this is accessible for your end users. So if I want to be able to have that good old document or have something in my hand or that I could save off, I certainly can do that. And you can see all of the templating that's been done anywhere that's got the ClickLearn branding material. This is where you'll work, you'll make a request with our support team. As a customer success manager, I'll work with you to be able to set up the templates for your own personalized preferences. If you even have a particular font style that you like to use with your correspondence, if you have any kind of standards, we could go ahead and help with those customizations. You can see here in the header and then also in the footer of every document, we're going to have information here. Again, if you want to customize that, you can see up here in this very far top right-hand corner, this identifies who the author, who the person is that created these materials. It's got the neatly captured, the screen captures that has that data element, and we also have the templating for the instructions as well. All of this is customizable. Anything that you see has the bolded text, that is actually looking at that data element that's right here within each one of these steps. So there's no problem with identifying what that particular step is. Again, because we are Microsoft Gold partners, we can work with the development team to be able to, and you can see here, I can expand that neatly cropped screen capture, and I can see that information right here at a glance. The PowerPoint is also really helpful for a couple of reasons, several reasons actually. With a PowerPoint, you can have your trainers now actually use this information. So if there is anybody that is visually impaired and they like to see the steps in a larger format, they can do that as well. So I have those same instructions, but now instead of the screen capture, ClickLearn has actually captured the entire screen, and we also have the text across the bottom. So your end users are able to, and they can create, click for the PowerPoint presentation to be able to follow through if they want step by step, or they can just click and go through the steps as they're working in the application. This is also very helpful for your trainers to be able to use. Right now, we're doing a lot of remote training. When the time comes for in-classroom instructor-led training, trainers can go ahead and have this on display while all of the attendees to that session, they'll be able to have that fuller discussion if they need to go ahead and talk a little bit more about a particular step, what information, maybe they need to identify where to go and pick the additional information up. So the trainers can also use this material. And finally, if you are going to be in a business conference meeting, so perhaps your business stakeholders are asking about the application and how are we coming along with training materials, is there anything that you can show us for our end users to be able to start adoption and using the application? So you can show it just in one step. This is the material that we have been creating. Here's where all of the material is going to be stored. You also have a show me, try me, test me video. So keep in mind, all of this is being produced in from one recording, and we're going to see that here. We're going to do a live demonstration. But from the show me, try me, test me video, now we also add audio. So for all of the different learning styles that people have, and many people don't know what their learning style is, but if they gravitate towards something that they can view and auditorially listen to, there are some people that just like to have their hands on that PDF or that Word document. Then again, there's people that would like to see that the PowerPoint in the fuller screen. With the show me video, the live assistant will come on. And I'm sorry, the video.
On the navigation menu item customers. Click on the navigation menu item new. Click on the link in cell description on any row. Click on the field name. Enter name. Click on the back button.
So we have about almost 50 different languages. We have about 149 or 150 different dialects. You just heard Sir Russell. He's one of our English Australian voices. And at the end of every show me video and every try me video, you'll also have this optional feedback panel. So your end users can again provide you some feedback as to whether they were comfortable with the instructions or not. Again, completely optional. So now the try me video becomes interactive where I will have to click as to advance into each step. And this now helps to develop that muscle memory. So ClickLearn is going to wait for me to start.
Click on the navigation menu item customers.
And then I can click all day long, all around outside here. And as I'm moving the mouse, I'm clicking here and there, and it's not doing anything. This now becomes interactive. So again, keep in mind, this is also a safe environment. We're not using any production environments. We don't even have to ask our development team to create training IDs and dump training data into it, because here it is right for the end users to be able to use and become comfortable with developing that muscle memory for finally having the access and getting into the application.
Click on the navigation menu item new.
So I'm just going to complete the exercise.
Click on the link in cell description on any row. Click on the field name. Enter name. Click on the back button.
So even as you're creating, if you want to enter information, you can enter the information as well. And then finally, the Test Me video, it gives your end users a chance to become familiar with as many different methods as they want to be able to access and create. And then the Test Me video, this too is going to wait. And now I will be graded. This is Scorm Compliance. So if you have a learning management system, you can also take this information and put it into your LMS, and it'll be assigned to the person that took it. And it's going to be based on a single sign-on using their email address from the profile that they access with.
Click on the navigation menu item Customers.
So now I better have been paying attention because I no longer have that leading outline.
Click on the navigation menu item New.
Now I'm just going to complete my activity.
Click on the link in cell Description on any row. Click on the field name. Enter name. Click on the back button.
So you can see it's graded. We also have the point value system that you can go ahead and set preferences for this as well. So all of this is provided, 7 different learning formats. And then finally, we do have the live assistant. So if there is an end user for the first time that they're coming into your company, or if I'm really not always creating, if I'm not in this part of the system all the time, I need to get a little bit of startup or guidance on how to be able to do it. And I'm being lazy, I just don't want to take the time here. Well, my live assistant now is going to help me. So the live assistant, also customizable. So if you have a logo or a beloved VP or a president, you can go ahead and be as comfortable. If you have some graphics background, play around with the live assistant. But now my live assistant is guiding me. So imagine this is now live in your production environment. From day one, I can go ahead and be creating any new customers. So if there's a backlog, if there's an in basket that might have information that you just need somebody to go through creating all of this information. And now you can see I'm being guided step by step, coming in. Now I'm actually creating. And if you notice where the bolded text is now in red, that's an indicator that anything that has a red bold in it, that's when I'm going to be required to enter information. So now I actually would be typing in live and in my system, and I would be creating and going on to the next step and the next step. So I can finish this exercise, and now I have my new customer account that's been created in my live environment. So it's all right here, truly at the fingertips for your end users. So let's go ahead and just another moment or two. I just want to show you, this is an example of another Microsoft product, because when we were taking that poll and when I noticed that people were mentioning different applications. So this is something that was created as a hackathon by one of my colleagues in our home office in Denmark. And these are all, again, work instructions that have been created for using Microsoft Teams. So for any of you that do use Teams on a regular basis, you can create materials, and it's the same process. You have your books, and within each one of your books, you have the recordings. So you can see and follow these instructions as well. If I have a global business, if I want to be able to translate this into other languages, notice up here in this top right-hand corner, this particular page also has different languages. So if I want to see, or if I want to be able to have my Danish colleagues use that same information, now you can see that the same information is possible here. And it's now all been translated into that language for the end users to be comfortable using your learning materials with as well. I also have a learning portal. Let me just highlight this one. This particular one is just an example of a learning portal that you can create, and it crosses multiple business systems. So you can record within one recording, capture steps that would be cross-platform. You could also create a learning portal for all of the different business applications, and you can put them all on one shelf. If you're going to be in an area, let's say that you're not going to have access to internet connectivity, because as you can see, they're all HTML files, you can actually download this full portal. This is all viewable from any type of device, with a handheld device, whether it's a MacBook, an iPhone, an Android phone, a Microsoft Surface tablet. Everything is viewable from a web page. If you don't have access to internet connectivity, you can download onto any one of those different handheld type devices, and you can go ahead and you see this particular one has 43 pages. Each one of them, because it downloads as a PDF, I could go ahead and then select and go through all of my steps. And so I'll still have access to whatever that information is that I'll be working outside of the boundaries of internet activity, accessibility. So lots of flexibility here as well. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the magic. From here, now we're going to be sitting in the author seat. So I am now going to be the author, going to use ClickLearn Studio, and the piece that you would bring for your application is, do you have business use cases? Do you have scripts from your development team, or are you perhaps the subject matter expert that would be creating the materials? So that's the one piece that you would just need to bring, is going to be your expertise in what the process is that you want to capture. Come here within ClickLearn, and in this top left-hand corner, we're going to go ahead and start recording. So with ClickLearn, it's in our name. We encourage you to keep your hand on your mouse as much as possible so that you can click to capture all of the steps, which will be recorded, and then we are going to produce those materials. So again, you could see we have a very large suite. We do understand just about all of the Microsoft, if not all of the Microsoft ecosystems. So we have all of our dynamics, our Business Central, customer engagement, F&O. Here's our nav. Down here, we also have Power BI, Microsoft Teams. We also have Microsoft Office 365. This is because we call it a web app, it's the cloud version of Office. Here we have Office 365 for Windows, so anything that you would start down here from your window. We also have a web app and we have a Windows app. So if you have any other applications, if you have legacy systems that you start from your Windows desktop, or if you have web applications that you start through a browser window, we also have these connectors as well. So all of this is kind of our secret sauce, because this is what's going to allow ClickLearn to capture those steps in any of these applications. So we have our business, I do have Business Central open. Of course, English US is my native language, but you have a variety of preferential languages that you can go ahead and add to this startup screen as well. So just a handful here, but let's go ahead and start creating. ClickLearn, if you do have dual monitors, just showing this and sharing with you that whatever your primary monitor is, you're going to get this nice bright green screen, and it's going to just remind you that anything on this screen will be captured. Conversely, on the other monitor, I have a nice red splash that says ClickLearn will not capture anything on that. So a little bit of setup process, and we're on our way. I'm going to say yes. I just need to wait for the green rectangle or square, and ClickLearn in just a moment. We're going to see a bright green flash, and this is ClickLearn's way of letting me know, hey, it's ready, it sees the application that I'm in, and we're going to go ahead and be able to start creating some work instructions here in just a moment. Notice that I just went outside the window. I just want to point out to you in the top right-hand corner, if you notice, it's got the little Windows wave. So that's ClickLearn's way of saying, hey, yeah, I'm with you on this page. I see that you're outside the window, so I'm going to let you go ahead and click using the web apps connector. Even though I selected the Business Central, again, ClickLearn is cross-platform. So now when I come back inside the window, you can see I now have that Business Central icon in the top right-hand corner. And if I come all the way down here, if I want to launch anything from my menu tab across the bottom, I can do that as well. And it switches back over, letting me know that it's outside the system. But we're going to stay inside the system. We're going to stick with our little customers from our example earlier. So when I go into my customers, because I've also clicked on the link for that particular item, ClickLearn knows, hey, I want to get down into the customer section. And then the same thing applies here. So if I want to be able to come and capture some information. I'm going to make sure that I click on the link inside that ClickLearn has seen. Notice that as I move around and about, so I'm moving the mouse here and there, anywhere, virtually anywhere that there is a link or that there is a default element that I could capture information. ClickLearn is going to be able to capture all of that. So again, if I just want to verify, this is the name of the account that I want to verify information for. If there's a contact name that I need to update, maybe Mr. Ryan Danner is no longer available, so I would go ahead and capture this field. If I have an email address for him that I would want to catch as well. Notice that I could capture the whole screen, but if I want to make it a very individualized step-by-step process for my end users. So now I'm just going to end the recording. And you're going to give this recording a name for whatever that process is, something that's going to make sense to your end users. I'm going to be saving it right here on my laptop. So I'm going to call this if you have a user guide or a job aid or a handout, you can go ahead and whatever your standards are, you give it a name or just simply say you're validating a customer account. So once you're done, ClickLearn then brings us back and it assigns it to whatever, notice the Microsoft Dynamics Business Central, that was the connector that we first selected. From here, I'm going to just show you a few of the little edit capabilities. There's a lot of enrichment that you can do with your documentation. So one of the examples, and as I'm looking through, it immediately creates the web page for us. So there's the template number 1 is for our web page. When I go through and I'm looking at the information that I've captured, I have my contact name, I grabbed his email address, but I really should also get a phone number address. So if I want my end user that's going to be creating material or validating information, I'd really like to be able to have them capture that phone number information as well. So what I can do here is I'm going to, being that I already have my system open, and even if this is something 6 months down the road or a year down the road, if you've got this initial recording and now you do add a customized field or your business manager for that department wants you to go ahead and start picking up additional information, you can open up your existing recording, go ahead and have your account open up in Stage to where you need to go and grab that extra field. And then here, when I come back into ClickLearn Studio, let me just double check and make sure. Oh, don't have any cache in that would interfere. So now I'm going to highlight this last step and right click because I want to place it right above there. And I'm just going to record that one new step and add it in. This is a beautiful thing because if you've ever tried to add a step in, and if you have numbered steps on a document, or if you have, even if it's bulleted steps that you try to do all of the formatting and make sure that you get it all to look and behave correctly. So what I want to do is I'm going to wait for ClickLearn to show me that green outline, the rectangle, and then I'm going to simply click into that field to capture that step, and we're going to add it right in place. So now, I want ClickLearn to come and find me. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So I've captured that step. And again, just quickly ending the recording, and I use the control keys on the keyboard to go ahead and add that. So it actually grabbed it twice for me. Wasn't that nice? So we can simply go ahead, and the one that's highlighted here looks like it might not have grabbed it in exactly the correct spot. So when I right click on that item, we have good old delete and cut and copy and paste in here. And I can also choose to exclude it. So I know that I don't really need to have it twice, so I'm simply going to delete that extra step. And now that I have all of this information together, so I have the contact name and the phone number and the email address, that can be very labor intensive to be scrolling down. And if you're going to be capturing detailed processes, you can do things like put all of these steps together into a group. And when I take it and put it into this group, I now can do a little bit of editing to be able to show my end users, here's the full block of where they're going to be completing that information. I can choose a bulleted list or a numbered list. So I'm going to leave it in a numbered list, again, just to show you the power of the templating here. So 1, 2, 3, I've got my steps. Oh, and by the way, it also put this data object in here. I didn't have to go looking for the data object and resize it. I have my 1, 2, 3 steps that it very neatly put all of that together for me. And now when I'm looking at it, it's like, well, it could be a little too detailed there. So maybe I just want to have it as a bulleted list. So now when I come and I make a quick edit and say, let me just change it back to a bulleted list. Can you imagine alone if you're creating using a PDF or a Word document, just how much of a time saver that one piece of editing alone will give you when you're having to create an update? You don't have to worry about trashing the entire template. You have it all right here done for you in advance. So again, just a really big plus as far as I was just thrilled to death with that. And if you want to be able to add any information, so let's say for the phone number in particular, if I want to be able to remind my end users for something, I can add a note in here. I can add a note at the beginning, at the end, if I need to give some fuller explanation for what that next process is. But here I'm just going to say, yeah, how about if we do it this way? So if you need to have a +1 or a +45 for whatever that is, and then I just need to make sure with my placement, I'm going to keep it with the previous step. I want it tucked up right underneath that phone number. So that way, no, I don't want to put it at the end of my group. I want to keep it right there with my phone number. So now that's a quick little visual for my end user. I'm happy with all of the updates that I've made. So now I'm going to save my recording. Keep in mind, everything that we've done, the editing is on the recording. Now we're going to produce the material. We're going to keep it in our English US. And we're going to be producing, if you notice in this lower right-hand corner, we've got this green progression ribbon. So right here, right now is the magic of ClickLearn. This is where we are creating all of the learning materials. We're creating the videos, we're creating the Word, the PDF, and the PowerPoint. Then once we take that video and we put it in, or that recording, and we put it into a book, we take the book and we put it on the shelf, and at the shelf level, we just create it's a very simple tick that we create for the live assistant to then become active. So now that we've made all of those changes down here, let's just come and look from the web page view. This is what we looked at earlier when we were looking from an end user perspective. So right here, the steps that we just completed, here's the editing that we made and adding our note. Now we have the PDF, the Word, the PowerPoint, the show me, try me, test me. So let me just open up in the Word document. The Word document opens in its native application. The PDF opens in a reader format. But here you can see, let's bring that view up a little bit. So we have all of the material again, you know, the preferences for the metadata in the header and the footer, the neatly cropped screen captures, as well as all of our information. And we can do further things. When you're talking about something like validating a customer account, it's not going to be that same account over and over, but we have powerful editing functionality that we can say, change it to show on, or to select any of those customer account names. Lots of flexibility there. So you can add your own piece, your own flavor to it. And now we also have the show me, try me, test me videos.
Click on the navigation menu item customers. Click on the link and cell.
So I'm going to silence this for just a moment. So for those of you who, with our second polling question that we're clicking that you use a variety of applications for creating all of your materials, ClickLearn has the video templating taken care of for you. We have like I said, we have about 148 or 49 different dialects. So for English US alone, we have 10 different, we have male and female voices, and I think that one happens to be Miss Sally. So you do also have some video editing capability if it sounds too tinny or if you want it to go a little faster or slower. We do have all of those that you can go ahead and tinker and edit with as well. So the show me, the try me, the test me videos are all the same, the PDF, the Word, and the PowerPoint. So we've done all of that just here in a matter of minutes. Let me just get back out our little card here and come back into ClickLearn. So now we've created that. We create a book doing the same process. We create a new book. So I have a variety of books you could see I've already got created here. Once you create the book, you can then take your recording and you can drag and drop it over into the book. You can sort and order it in any way that you prefer. If I don't want to have this new customer in BC, I can remove that. So you have a lot of flexibility between your book structure as well. And then you also have your this would be ultimately your shelf that we took a look at the different varieties of. So here I happen to have a Business Central Knowledge Bank. So any of the books that I want, I can drag and drop over, bring them back, so I can sort and order. And then at this shelf level is where I produce it, I publish it, and then I will have the link to be able to go and take a look at that. So just very quickly, because I want to turn this back over to Brian, I'm sure you'll have questions. So I have my Business Central Knowledge Bank. So once you produce it and you publish it up to our Content Cloud portal. Here's the HTML, and these are all of the different materials that I've created. And I've also gone ahead and changed it so that for my colleagues in Canada, the Canadian French language is usually a requirement for any materials that you would create. You could very easily just change the regional language settings in your BC application, and you can then use ClickLearn to replay and run against it. So then once you have that implemented and put into your application, you're going to want to come up here to the cloud portal. And from the cloud portal, there's just a few steps for you to be able to add a tracking ID, and you would be able to look at, well, what happened to my access here? I don't have, well, I can't show you this right now, but there is a dashboard availability that you will be able to gather all of your metrics from that dashboard. So from here, well, this is our home page. Here's where we have for being able to make your request for templating that would be done. There's also availability for any e-learning for authors that would like to get greater understanding. And another thing that I do like to point out is our help. We have a variety of ways, so you're never left alone. ClickLearn has we have training, we have support, we have a ClickLearn community. So with the contents, we like to say that we take our own medicine. So here we have our ClickLearn learning portal that every one of these has information about how to use ClickLearn. And if you use the content to pop up, at a glance, you could see all of the different things that are available for you to use ClickLearn to your best advantage. We also have a community. So the ClickLearn community is for end users, by end users. These are ClickLearners worldwide that you can come in here, you can sign yourself up, create a profile. There's no charge for you to do so, and you can come and view through all of the materials that we have available. I think we have about 90 articles for just like ClickLearn for getting started or using ClickLearn. So, and many times the ClickLearners from a global aspect, they may respond to something before any of us in our customer support might be able to respond. So there's just a great community out here that you can be a part of as well. And then finally, as you're working in ClickLearn, if you have a problem with any of your recordings, if I find that there was something here that just wasn't rendering correctly, with that file highlighted, I can come here and select technical support. It's going to zip that file up. I can enter what my problem is, and when I send this off, it'll go into my customer support ticket desk, and you'll get a notice back with what your case number is. Someone will respond to be able to help you through. So from soup to nuts, you're never going to be lost and left alone when using the ClickLearn Studio. Brian, that's everything that I have to show today. Would you like me to send it back over to you? Would you like me to, or Angie, can you make Brian presenter?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. I just want to go over a few minutes just to let you guys know that our licensing model is a subscription-based model. Don't want to get into too much detail, but just want to give you an overview so you're aware and knowledgeable of it, and just wanted to share this information with you real quick. Our subscription-based model, which we launched last year, we really need to know, you need to know really 4 things, and for us to customize exactly what you're going to need. The first is which applications do you provide training for? Again, your primary one's probably going to be Dynamics 365 BC Nav. But we do, like Christine said, have an Office 365 one that covers SharePoint and Teams. We do have a custom one that covers Windows and web-based applications. Should you do anything like that where you need to create documentation recordings for, we can go over that at the appropriate time. The number of people that will be authoring the training materials. In short, that's going to be who's creating material. The good and a little information about this is they're unnamed, so anyone in the organization can use them. However, they're non-concurrent. So if you have two people that are going to create the training and you have one author license, the resolution of that is either A, you guys schedule internally, I'll use it in the morning, use it in the afternoon, for example, or B, you get two author licenses, both people can log on and create training and material at the same time. Third is the number of end users or consumers that are going to be consuming the content throughout the term of the yearly subscription. Basically, again, who's going to get set up with a login ID for the portal to go in and access the trainings. And lastly, the features. We have 4 different editions, whatever best fits your needs. When the time is right, you can either reach out to me or reach out to your contact at Innovia. Again, here are the different platforms and what they cover. They do backdate to, for example, BC back to NAV 2009, and the other different ones that we do have. And again, these are the features of the different additions that we have. Again, whatever's important to you. A lot of the functionality maybe Christine showed is not important to you or not relevant. Maybe a lot of it is. Whatever is best to you, we customize the solution that's best for you. Also included in that term of that yearly subscription is free lifetime customer care and support as long as you're a ClickLearn customer. That includes trainings internally to get new authors set up to learn how to use ClickLearn, unlimited tech support, any updates, we handle that for you, portal creation, any consultancy, so on and so forth. So just wanted to share that briefly with you. Again, that information is out on our website, clicklearn.com, under the pricing tab. You're more than welcome to go around there. It's a tool, feel free to play around with it, figure out what's best for you. But again, if you have any questions or when you get ready for that step, by all means, contact your Innovia person there, and they can reach out to me or feel free to reach out to me yourselves. Either way, that will work. So that's all I wanted to show, Angie.
All right, thank you, Brian. We do have a couple questions that came through. If anybody has any additional ones, now's the time to get those in so we can get them addressed with Brian and Christine. So the first question is, how do my end users access the learning materials I've just created? And how can I manage their access to it?
So once you create the materials and you've performed your editing, you put those materials into a book or a category for whatever that functional area is, and then that book gets placed onto a learning portal shelf. Once you've produced and published it, there's in the published content, if you want, shall I go ahead and take, or Angie, do you want to give me presenter rights back? And if it would help to kind of visually take the end user or to answer that question.
Yep, give me one moment.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. So now, once you've created and you've put your materials onto the shelf, and I've got this one in particular highlighted across the bottom, let me go ahead and come over here to the portal. In this published content area, once you select publish, it's going to display here in the list, and it's only going to display your content. So the content federation, and I'm not sure why I'm not getting the full screen here, so apologies for that, but this is the actual link. So you can view the link from here, and then there's also a copy button, and copying the button is actually copying that hyperlink. So for my particular business knowledge bank, you can see this is the HTML link. So the way that you would manage your end users being able to access it is deciding where do you want to have this embedded. So your technical team could work with our ClickLearn support. We're just going to refresh this screen real quick. And with our technical support, this is where we have, and this is our 2018 version of our Business Central Sandbox. So we've used the tile to activate the assistant. And when we do that, the assistant then becomes live on the ribbon, and this is where your materials are then presented for your end users to be able to access. So as long as it's a single sign-on process, if there are materials that have been created for the end users for whatever their business unit or whatever the functional areas that you've created, when they do sign into their Business Central or they sign into their Dynamics application, because it's a single sign-on, their email address is part of their profile. This is where they'll be able to access the materials that have been created. Does that help answer the question?
I believe so. Thank you.
Okay.
We do have one more question that came through. What skills are needed to begin working with ClickLearn?
Oh, honestly, if you have a proficiency with a keyboard and if you have your processes already documented, so that means if you have a proof of concept, a POC document that might, or a business requirement document that might have business use cases, so those are really the prime component for you to be able to use ClickLearn with. So I provide if you're interested in a trial license training, you know, with Brian, you could go ahead and request a trial license for 14 days. I provide trial license training. I also provide ClickLearn fundamentals to be able to get you up and running so you're comfortable with just how to go through the creation of the new recording, how to do the editing. We'll talk about the replay, or we'll actually go through, you know, a live example if you do have global businesses. So and those training sessions generally last about 90 minutes. So if you're comfortable using a keyboard, if you have your business processes, we'll take 90 minutes to go through training you to get comfortable with using ClickLearn. You can conceivably put together a learning portal within an afternoon or in 24 hours time, as long as you have the initial material and you've got the time blocked out available to be able to put something together. I can show you an example right here. Hang on just a moment. This particular one is a learning portal that was created. We called it the magic of ClickLearn, but this learning portal with all of these recordings, we have these 3 books. This took about 90 minutes throughout the course of an evening, because again, I had the processes documented. I knew what books were that I wanted to be able to put this together with, and this is really just for the CRM. So for our CRM CE, we have the customers, the sales, services. Of course, there's marketing. So that's the navigation menu on the left side of your CRM. So all of this material together took all of 90 minutes to be able to produce and put together. So you can immediately get that information out in a process of 24 hours or less. And as you go through creating materials for other application or for other categories or functional areas, you would just create the book. After you're done with your recordings and editing, you put them together on a new book. So if it's going to be for webinars or web sessions, whatever those different functional areas are, and then you take the book, you put it on the shelf, and by producing and publishing the shelf, that's when you would then come out here to the cloud portal, and whenever you have any material that you've updated that link or you've updated that learning portal, you would just come out here to the published content area, grab a copy of that link, and then go ahead and get started with talking with your technical team to have it embedded and updated in your application. Painless.
All right. Thank you, Christine. I believe
Welcome.
those are the only questions that have come through. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to contact your account manager here at Novia Consulting, or you may contact Brian and Christine. And I just want to thank Brian and Christine for presenting today, and for everyone on the webinar, or if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Yes, thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
All right, and we do have more webinars coming up. This afternoon, we have one of our team members, Tracy Bergetsker, and she's going to be presenting on how to set up customers, vendors to send documents electronically. And next Tuesday afternoon, we have ADP presenting on leverage data analytics from ADP to make informed business decisions. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's anovia.com/events. And if you have not heard already, Anovia has a podcast that is going on. It's called the Anovia Conversation. And we want to encourage you to listen to the selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Progolski, have provided to us. And you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page. And that's anovia.com/podcast. So check out the selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And we also have a new round of training workshops for you and your team members to attend. Visit our training workshop page at anovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshop that fits your role. All right, everyone, thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Brian and Christine, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on another Anovia webinar. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.